Hi, Brian from Retrotopia here. Did you know we started a Patreon? And that said Patreon is free to join? Head on over to patreon.com/Retrotopia and join the free tier. This free tier will give you access to a second Spotify Retrotopia called Retrotopia Expansion Pass, where you can get not only the main show, but the shows exclusive to Patreon, such as Quick Play, where Alan, Sam, or myself will give a quick review on games that might not have the meat for a full episode. As well, you can write in comments for upcoming shows, including 8-Bit Banter Box and the Game of the Week. You can comment on the shows that have been aired, or you can message me and get a one-on-one time. You can also find a link to the Patreon at linktr.ee/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, and that'll also give you a link to our Discord. So if you're looking to support the show through participating in the discussion, head on over to patreon.com/Retrotopia and sign up today. And one last perk, you won't have to hear this advertisement at the beginning of a show. Now let's get on with our regularly scheduled program.
Hello everyone and welcome to Retrotopia, the world's greatest video game podcast as voted for by the hosts of Retrotopia. That's right, Sam, Brian and I are pretty convinced this is the greatest podcast of all time. And are we biased? Maybe, but you'll have to listen to the episode and find out. And today we are talking about a little known indie niche title by the name of Super Mario Bros. 3. Never heard of it. Before we get into all of that, though, of course, we've got to go through the intro first. And today, you've got me. My name's Alan, or otherwise known as that British guy that Brian keeps locked in his basement. He's somehow convinced that I add a certain amount of class to the show. Not sure why. I keep telling him that I'm not actually all that classy. And he just tells me to shut up and record. And then he apologises because he's lovely and Canadian. Speaking of things that are classy, we've got a link tree. linktr.ee/Retrotopia. And on that you can find all of our social medias. You can find our state-of-the-art Discord server. And our Patreon, that's right. So you can join our Patreon for free at patreon.com/Retrotopia. And you can do all sorts of fun things like comment on episodes. You can listen to episodes early. What else can you do? You can listen to all of our Retrotopia podcasts in one place. So that's the main show. Quick Play, where Sam, Brian or myself will talk about a smaller game that doesn't have the meat for a full episode, or our brand new show Retrobites, where me, Sam and Brian tackle the big issues in gaming and generally just talk shit for a couple of hours. It's lots of fun. Come and check it out. Speaking of shout-outs, we've got a few of you lovely new Patreons, so a huge Retrotopia thank you to Michael Milito? Sorry, buddy, if I said that wrong. David Hendley and Big Kid 782. Sorry, guys, I did my best. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate your support, and we genuinely love having you around. You make the place look nice. So thank you very much. So what else do you get for your Patreon? Well, by joining the Patreon, you get to take your stand and have your say from our comment platform, I suppose. We call it the 8-Bit Banter Box, and by God, it's culturally elegant. So, first up, we've got Wildcard, tackling the big issues of the day. Alright, says Wildcard. Sam got this question last week, so now I want to hear your answer. Alan, have you ever sharted yourself? Give us the details, please. Okay, Wildcard, so this is the second time in as many weeks that you've asked this question, so either you've got some kind of scatological fetish, and hey, I'm not here to shame, like, you do you, that's fine, or you're looking for vindication, having had some sort of accident yourself. Unfortunately, Wildcard, a gentleman never sharts and tells. Let's just leave it at, you know, once upon a time, there may have been a very large bottle of red wine and some misplaced trust, and we shall leave it at that. Moving on to actually more of the same. Sharkbite here says, "It's okay, Alan, I've sharted myself a few times and there's no details needed." I don't know, if it's a few times, we might need to hear about that. It happens too often that when I go away, I always pack extra underwear. Anyway, to my question, what's your favourite colour and why is it puke green? In brackets, Wolfbane/Clark, by the way, I have no shame. Lol. Why is my favourite colour puke green? Probably due to familiarity more than anything else. Back in my hedonistic days, I think I probably saw a lot of puke green, and I just got used to having it around. So there you go. Actually, fun fact, my favourite colour is purple. So moving on from the quote-unquote shit comments, we've got Blaine the Hoagie Man, a co-host from the Retro Riders video game podcast. So go and check those guys out. They're a couple of episodes in and doing really rather well. He says, since the game is about Super Mario Bros. 3, which world is your favourite? I'd say mine is Big Island or Giant World, whichever one you call it. Well, Blaine, that's actually a pretty good pick. I think we get into it a little bit on the episode itself. I've definitely got more worlds that I dislike than I do like. Honestly, I think World 1, whatever it's called, is probably my favourite, only in so much as it's one I can beat pretty easily. But I agree, Big Island, Giant World, whatever you want to call it, I completely forget that that's in the game every time I play it, and it's a nice surprise, it's a nice bit of variation, so I do enjoy that world as well, so that's a very good call. David Hendley says, "Hey Alan, I've been working through the backlog and you guys have covered a good variety of games. What game that you haven't covered yet are you most excited to talk about?" Ooh, now that's a list and a half. Speaking for myself, and there are a few games that I'd like us to cover. There are a few that we are actually covering. So the games that there are no solid plans for my own personal tastes, I would love to cover something like the old Resident Evil games, the old Silent Hill games. I'm a big fan of that old PlayStation survival horror genre. Another game that's been tossed around and that I'm very hopeful for is the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, which is a game that I'm a huge fan of. So I'd really like to do that one. And I think probably the worst kept secret at Retrotopia is that we may or may not be talking about a game. We call it Time Toggle, but I think some people refer to it as Chrono Trigger. So I'm very excited to talk about Chrono Trigger, much to some people's dismay. And speaking of some people's dismay, we've got Unbuckled Cape 10 from the Unbuckled Comics podcast, who says, "Alan, whose voice is as smooth as," and I'm reading this as it's written, "caramel whiskey." So I think I need to put on a bit of a, do you drink caramel whiskey to achieve such an intoxicating voice? If not, what's the gentleman's drink of choice? It's just that caramel. Sounds like it should be, I don't know, from the Old West. Actually, the gentleman's drink of choice is actually whiskey. I'm a big fan of single malt Scotch whiskey. I'm not too keen on the blends. I'm a bit of a snob like that, but I do like a nice smoky or peaty whiskey, like a Talisker or a what's that one I've had recently? I can see it in my mind. Lafroig, which is a really nice one as well. Or Jura, or basically any single malt whiskey, if I'm being honest. If not that, then I like my IPAs. Yeah. So that's about it. So, lovely, excellent questions, guys. Thank you very much for writing in. So before we move on to talking about Super Mario Bros. 3, I will tell you what I've been up to. And, well, I wish I had more to tell you, really. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of parenting. The usual, really. I mean, we've had a couple of really nice weekends over here in the UK. So we have been getting out to a variety of mini festivals and events. Took the little one down to our local Pride event, which was lots of fun. She got to dance in the, rain. But yeah, really enjoyable. Yeah, a couple of mini music festivals and what have you. And we're not doing all of that. Obviously, just been gaming as much as possible. Still plugging away at Baldur's Gate 2. What else? Finished Axiom Verge. I think I'm just sort of in between games at the moment. I've yet to pick my next one. I'm thinking maybe Batman on the NES, or I might, considering I just finished Chrono Trigger, I might consider diving into Final Fantasy 13, but I'm not sure if I want to do another RPG straight away, especially considering that I've got Baldur's Gate 2 sort of running fairly consistently. Okay, well, with that out the way, I am going to hand over to a rather pompous chap who's going to put on a silly voice for you and talk about Super Mario 3 in the Gentleman's Interlude.
Gather round, ye noble folk, and lend an ear as I regale you with the tale of Super Mario Bros. 3, a monumental triumph in the annals of electronic entertainment. Released upon the world on the auspicious day of October 23rd, in the grand year of 1988, this magnum opus has etched its name into the pantheon of gaming legends. By Jove, let us delve into the marvels that await within this digital masterpiece in a manner befitting its grandeur. Picture, if you will, the indomitable Mario, our stout-hearted hero, and his ever-loyal brother Luigi, setting forth on a most valiant quest to rescue the beguiling Mushroom Kingdom from the clutches of the dastardly Bowser and his mischievous brood, the Koopalings. Their journey spans a wondrous array of worlds, each teeming with peculiar challenges and delightful oddities, a testament to the ingenuity of Nintendo's masterful artisans, led by the illustrious Shigeru Miyamoto. Ah, the worlds, each one a realm of splendor and peril, from the verdant expanses of the grassland to the scorching, treacherous sands of desert land. The very fabric of these lands is woven with care, presenting a kaleidoscope of challenges that demand both cunning and dexterity. And let us not forget the overworld map, a stroke of genius, I say. It bestows upon the player the power to chart their course, imbuing the journey with a sense of purpose and discovery. But lo, it is the power-ups that elevate this game to the heavens. The Super Leaf, that wondrous artifact, transforms Mario into a raccoon, granting him the miraculous gift of flight and the power to vanquish foes with the mere flick of his tail. Such innovations are not mere baubles, but are the very essence of the game, adding layers of strategy and delight that keep one enthralled from start to finish. The design, my friends, is nothing short of impeccable. Each level, a masterpiece of balance and creativity, beckons the player onward with a gradual crescendo of difficulty that never feels unjust. The controls, precise and responsive, are a testament to the diligent craftsmanship of Nintendo's finest minds. In conclusion, Super Mario Bros. 3 is a colossus among games, a harmonious blend of creativity, challenge, and sheer joy. Its legacy is eternal, not as a relic of the past, but as a timeless beacon of excellence. It stands as a jewel in the crown of gaming, a masterpiece to be revered and celebrated for ages to come. By thunder, what a game!
All right, there we go. There that was. So now, before we get into the game, we have some comments from our listeners, of course, about Super Mario Bros. 3. So we've got a couple here. We've got Randy Berridge, who says, definitely my favourite 2D Mario game, maybe my favourite Mario game in general. I love everything about this one. The power-ups, the overworld, the boss fights. While the final world was tough, I always struggle the most in that Skyland. This game was a perfect swan song for Mario on the NES. Hammer Suit for life. Brilliant. Yeah, good comment. I do agree. It definitely pushes the NES to its extremes there, so it is a good swan song for the console. I think I mostly agree, and we do get into this on the episode, but that Skyland can go and fuck itself. Absolutely. Unbuckled Cape 10 says, is this game the GOAT? I know Mario World may be the better technical game, but this one sets so many 2D Mario standards, like the overworld, Mario becoming a furry, mini-games to earn power-ups and lives, furry Mario, mini-castles, and of course everyone's favourite Mario wearing animals, essentially making him a furry. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Mario is canonically a furry. So there we are. You heard it here first. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, this was my first ever game that I played and still my favourite Mario game ever. They say you never forget your first, and this is especially true for me. I like the 8 distinctly different worlds, and this is the debut of the Koopalings. This game has a ton of secrets, like the hidden coin chips and secret mushroom houses. Even though I've played this numerous times, I still seem to find new secrets that I never knew before, and it feels like there is still more to discover. Well, Blaine, again, I'm going to take your word for that because I suck at Super Mario Bros. 3 and I found none of that. In fact, Brian does go into the hidden coin chip and I can't remember what it is you need to do in order to find it, but it's just preposterous and I'm never doing that. You can keep it. But that's a pretty good game for your first game ever. I can see why you're such a fan of the hobby. Sharkbite says, I only ever played this game on the NES or SNES or whatever console it was on at the time. I've never completed it, but I've had a whale of a time playing it every time I do. I love the pretty colours, the nice sounds, and the idea that Mario is in a play, hence the curtains at the end of each level, and how you can go behind on certain levels. Yeah, I remember that. I can't remember how you do that, going behind the levels, but I distinctly remember when I was young, we had like a VHS tape which had a bunch of cheats and secrets for Nintendo games, and I distinctly remember seeing it on that, and it blew my mind. So then obviously I had to go and try it, and yeah, it worked. So I think it also showed like a couple of secrets for Super Mario Brothers 2, like some of the door placements and things like that, and it was very, very cool. Good shout. And Chris Coplin says, it appears I'm going to be the stick in the mud. Well, here goes. Is Mario 3 a bad game? Not by any means. It's one of the best designed games of the era, with tight controls and a well thought out difficulty curve. It did a tremendous amount to advance games and platformers of the era, and its impact cannot be denied. However, it's also a game that doesn't respect your time. Releasing this game without a battery backup for the sheer size and scope that it has relative to its contemporaries is inexcusable. So inexcusable that in the manual for the Famicom release, Nintendo themselves had to apologize for it. Defenders will point to warp whistles as a mean to circumvent this, but that doesn't excuse the obvious and what should be a fatal flaw. If skipping the majority of a game is the best way to play the game, then why is the game as a whole considered to be legendary? It's a bit of a paradox. Anyway, living in an age of save states, this point becomes somewhat moot. But then, if save states are used, are you really reviewing a game? Or are you reviewing us? That is hard to say. Or are you reviewing a game in the state that it suits it best and ignores its problematic aspects? Sorry for the long rant, look forward to the episode. I don't necessarily disagree with anything that you've just said there. I am not necessarily a defender of this game. I didn't know that Nintendo had to apologize for it. That's very, very interesting. And as for looking forward to the episode, well, let's get into it. So thanks everyone who wrote in. Brilliant comments. Thank you very much. Always appreciate your input. So now we are going to queue up a little bit of that Super Mario Bros. 3 music, because it is fantastic and nostalgic, and it's going to take you back to your childhoods. And here we go. We are talking Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES, the SNES, the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo Switch Online, just about everywhere. Released in... And a smart podcaster would have had this ready. Released in 1988. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the episode. Let's go. All right, thank you, me. I'm joined now by Brian and Sam, and we are going to get into talking about Super Mario Bros. 3. How are you doing, guys?
We made you do that, and you just nailed it.
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you. There's no pressure whatsoever. Honestly, I didn't shit myself for nothing.
Oh, I appreciate myself before we podcast. It gets all the nerves out.
That's smart. That's smart. Yeah. Well, you have been podcasting longer, so tricks of the trade.
Hey, if you think that was good, just wait till Brian kicks it to me for the outro. So prepare to have your mind blown.
Oh, so
if you guys haven't noticed I like doing this to you yet, hey, Sam, take it away, and you're like, fuck you, Retrotopia.
Well, who knows?
Now, seeing as I've done this little intro now, surely the onus is on me. So I'm going to start with you, Brian.
Uh-oh.
How are you doing?
Just done the old reversal. No, I'm not too bad. We finally had a break in our heat and all that humidity that we had for the last about week and a half, and it's finally nice to open up the windows. You can visibly see the stink of our family just escape the house like ghosts. Yeah,
it's got stink lines on it.
Oh, exactly. It's great. I've been kind of in a lull on video games lately, but I did actually manage to get a stream on my Twitch channel in, so I got that working again.
I saw that. You were playing The Room, right?
Yes, a fun little, you can get it on your phone or the Switch or Steam. It's a fun little puzzle game that's super relaxing. You can just sit there, even when you're stuck, all you do is spin around until you find the one thing you need to unlock, and boom, you just move forward.
Those games are excellent. I think I downloaded the first one a few years back, and it just triggered a whole sort of escape room mobile phone fascination.
There's a VR version of it I got because we bought my son a MetaQuest 2 or whatever, the Oculus 2 or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And I realize it's a great game, but you have to move too much. And when you move in the virtual world, you don't move in the real world. And it makes you motion sick unless you're my kid and then you're doing cartwheels and backflips and he's good to go.
Well, then you need to do cartwheels and backflips, Brian. That's how you play the game.
But that was Brian from 20 years ago. Brian from today can barely get out of bed without hurting something.
Was it though?
All right, let's move on to Sam. It's enough about me. This interview is over.
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not too much. Just playing stuff for the show has become a priority because we got lots of interest on the quick plays. So I'm trying to bang out as many of those as I can, and then also working on some stuff for upcoming episodes. But I'll keep that close to the vest.
Nice.
But how about you, Alan?
Well, it's it's actually been really nice. We've had a few really decent weekends. We've managed to get out to a few local festivals that they've had in our town, which has been lots of fun. So I've not been soaking up the sun and drinking. Again, just playing video games.
That's a good combination.
That's not bad, is it? I just finished Axiom Verge yesterday, which was absolutely brilliant if you're a fan of Metroidvanias, as I think it's pretty well known that I am now. What else? Baldur's Gate, still plugging away at that, and obviously still currently sitting here playing Super Mario Brothers 3 and not doing a very good job of it, I've got to be honest.
Yeah. This is the Retrotopia version of fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, fuck it. I am definitely not beating this game, for fuck's sake. I'm definitely not beating this game while we record. I might throw the Switch out the window and just go and get Chrono Trigger instead.
Yeah, nice relaxing RPG.
Oh, that's a good option.
Oh, beauty.
All right, should we talk about the game that's on the title of this episode?
Let's get to it.
All right, first off, I want to say to you two naysayers, I'm going to throw some numbers at you because I looked them up because we had a little conversation where you brought your Sega into this wonderful world of Nintendo. Super Mario Brothers 3 has made top 100 lists on 4 out of the many I've looked at. So it was number 11 on IGN's top 100 games of all time, number 36 on GQ's, that's Gentleman Quarterly's 100 top games of all time as ranked by experts, apparently. Number 52 on IMDb and number 11 on Ranker. And Super Mario Bros. Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3, has a Metacritic score of 94.
Nerd!
And you call this a bad game.
Now,
I don't think it's a bad game. Here we go.
Now it's time to backtrack after hearing that score.
I did. I was irritated with it at first because the first, obviously the first world is kind of the one that you've played the most, so it's usually a cakewalk, and then you get to 2 and then more so 3 really irritate the shit out of me.
yeah, and then onwards,
and it gets good for a bit, and then it gets really, really shitty again for a bit. Where I don't know, I didn't have this game growing up. My history with it is usually like someone like a friend or a relative has a Nintendo and has this game, and it really does capture your imagination because it's everything you think or want Mario to be. It's got plenty of power-ups. It's got lots of different worlds and locations and cool castles and stuff, but it just never clicked with me, and I don't know why. It's kind of like a kryptonite for me. I can't beat it. That's for sure.
It's funny because I had this game as one of my staples in my Nintendo collection, and it became one of those games where you get 2 warp whistles in World 1, and then you warp to what's called World 9 or the warp level, and then use a warp whistle there, brings you right to World 8, and that's how I used to beat the game all the time. So when I did a playthrough this time, I decided to go through every world one by one, and I realized in my life I've been kind of like punishing myself for not actually playing this game all the way through because there's hard parts and there's some levels that take you 15 seconds.
Yeah,
true. I love this game. This game would hit definitely inside my top 100 games of all time because it is one of the best Mario games out there.
I mean, it is a very, very good, very capable platformer. I mean, I'm with Sam in so much as it's a game that I never played. I think the first time that I played it was actually on the All-Stars collection. So I wasn't very familiar. Again, the NES was always that sort of exotic console that I never owned growing up. So I missed out on a bunch. I I mean, as far as Mario games go, yeah, it's got everything you expect. It's got everything that you want out of a Mario game. It is just, I think I just suck at it. And we'll get into maybe some of the reasons why, some of my excuses for
Yeah.
sucking at it, because I have many. I have lots of excuses. It's not my fault. It's some bullshit. But yeah, it's a rock solid platformer.
Yeah, all right. No, that's wonderful. I look forward to hearing your lame excuses about why this game was not fun.
Oh, they are lame. Very lame.
So this game takes place over 7 worlds and then a final, I guess, Bowser world. So let's call it 8 worlds if I do proper math.
Mhm.
And World 1 is probably the one everybody recognizes because, you get through World 1 guaranteed and then quit the game for years at a time. And then you come back, you play World 1. So you know it so well that it's almost automatic.
Yeah, that's
At
accurate.
least for me. But in there's 6 levels, a fortress, and the big castle at the end. The boss is Larry Koopa. And the big notable feature about this is it has a white mushroom house hidden in it. Well, actually, I think white mushroom house is in all of them, but it has the treasure ship, which you guys, I showed you guys recently in a video.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those
Never
are
saw
fun
that
to
before
get.
in my life.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if I've ever gotten one in this game. I know, like, treasure ships are one of those things that kind of carry over into later Mario titles.
Yeah, and getting
That
the
it's-
treasure
yeah.
ship in this is more blind luck than it is skill because you need to have coins at the end of the level in multiples of 11, so 11, 22, 33, etc. Your score, the last 2 digits have to equal the coins, so either even or odd. And you have to finish the level on even time.
It's like
Because
I can just about barely finish the levels, let alone
Yeah, just like,
with all of that
nailed
extra
it.
bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's exactly it, which is why when I got that treasure ship, I had to show you guys because I wasn't even going for it. Somewhere along the lines, I managed to hit all 3 of those markers on
So,
World 5.
You just came across that purely by accident.
Completely by accident. Didn't try for it at all. And then I was like, well, fuck, I found it. I might as well show you guys because I know there's going to be no other time that I'll ever get this ship to show anybody.
Can confirm
Yeah, that's kinda
Brian
cool.
did do
Is
that.
Is that the first time you've ever gotten one?
No, I've played this game so many times that I've gotten the ship a few times in my life, probably like 3 in total. That's how rare it is.
Mm.
Yeah, I suppose, like, law of averages, if you play it enough, you'll probably meet those conditions maybe at
Yeah.
least once. And there's probably people that can nail it on purpose too.
Oh yeah,
right?
there's probably speedrunners that use that to get enough coins to finish the game or some crap like that. And it's like, oh yeah, man, I just sit here and I do this backflip over here with the star, and boom, I got 6 white chips.
I can't even begin to imagine how you speedrun this game.
Oh, that
There is a way.
I mean, speedrunning was something that I wanted to mention with this game because I think speedrunning, when I was in college, we would emulate Nintendo games, and that's how I played. I mean, I played this and Super Mario 2 and
Don't say that out loud.
Mega Man. They weren't available so much, as much. Plus, like, what we paid for nothing when we were in college. Like, but anyways, like, that's where I kind of learned of speedrunning via YouTube was
Mm.
this game because everyone was like, "Whoa, did you ever see the speed run of this?" And it's literally like when you get into the later levels of like the ships and the tanks and stuff that you're going through in World 8, they're just basically like hopping cannonball to cannonball and never touching the ground. It's crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah, if you let go
yeah.
of all inhibitions and just jump in this game and let your character land where they land, like you can do some pretty impressive stuff and barely miss like piranha plants or whatever. That's basically how I was running through the game. I was just Leroy Jenkins every world. I just jump wherever I jumped, and I still, like Alan said, had 37 lives by the time I showed that video to you guys.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. I like that mechanic of that I assume they added it in this game because it's really not in Super Mario Brothers 1, where you can hold your jump button as you land on an enemy and it launches you.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
a huge
that's gotten me out of some tough spots.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
it's a
sure
huge
it does
component.
exist in Super Mario Brothers 1, but I think if you have momentum, I think the jump actually does work. I'd have to look that up.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's as pronounced because this, all you have to do is like hold the button down while you land on an enemy, and
Yeah.
it just like, and it's not
Actually,
as high in Super Mario 1, I'm sure, but this is
oh,
just
probably
like
not. Well, this one, it's
launches you
like,
halfway across the screen.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's kind of designed for it because some of the levels require that you hit the enemy and get to the next platform.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Some
But
bullshit.
yeah, so World 1 also is notable for the fact that it has 2 warp whistles, which can get you to level 8 like right away, which is kind of weird that they would put that mechanic like right in the beginning of the game. But I guess with no saves is probably a good way for people to finish the game.
Yeah, I always considered that to be kind of I mean, that's one of my gripes about this game is that it needed save states,
Oh yeah.
even if you only could save at the end of a castle, and that's how they do it in the GBA version, is you can save after you defeat a fortress or a castle. That's fine, you know.
Mm.
That's all it needed, and just have like a quick battery save or whatever. But this just like it's a long game if you don't have the secret know-how, and
Yeah,
you're
and I
just
played it on the Nintendo Classic, so I used the save states to kind of be my save file.
right. Yeah, that's yeah. It could
I'm,
have used a save file. It's not like that technology didn't exist.
I'm just now realizing playing it on Switch, I probably can save state.
Yes, you can.
Oh, absolutely. You hit the 2 shoulder buttons, the triggers.
Well, that information would have been useful to me about a week ago.
Well, it's not
And then
like
right
they hid the
before, yeah,
feature.
But as I say, I
yeah.
mean, I think in my limited experience with the game, I didn't actually find any warp whistles this time around, but I do distinctly remember finding them when I was younger. So I would just warp to World 8. And
Yeah.
then obviously, having not put the reps in throughout the game, I wouldn't beat that world. So actually,
Yeah.
this time round, actually going through it and playing every single level, I mean, this is a big game.
It's a
Oh yeah,
huge
for
game.
especially for like 1989 or 1988 when it came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Like
funny, like everyone knew how to find those warp whistles too. That was just like common knowledge. It just
well,
came. It's like tribal knowledge or whatever, where
It's
you
like
just kind
you're
of
going to
know it.
read like we're going to watch The Wizard and put that out as the next episode after this one, and you're going to realize why everybody knew where the warp whistles were.
Oh, did they tell you
uh,
where they were in the movie? I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to ruin the movie for you. It's you just got to remember that's actually the first time Super Mario Brothers 3 was shown to the world, so
Yeah.
that's why it was such a hyped movie. But it's probably not going to land on your shelf as one of your favorite movies ever.
so it's the
Yes,
first
it
time
will.
that they advertised Mario 3 and they told you how to warp to the last world.
Well, yeah, because they're doing competitive Super Mario Brothers 3
Ah,
in the game, so or in the movies. I don't want to spoil too much of it because it kind of jumps into the next episode.
yeah.
Long story short, shit happens. Super Mario Brothers 3 is revealed. Little Brian poops his pants and then watches the movie and poops his pants a second time.
That's a lot of poop.
Gotta
Yes.
clean that up.
Yeah.
Little Brian had bowel problems.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Anyways, speaking of bowel problems, let's move this over with 6 degrees of separation. Poop, kitty litter, desert land. That's World 2.
Nice.
There we go.
Well played.
It wasn't a full 6 degrees, but you know what? I couldn't think of the other 3 off the
Nope.
top of my head. Anyways, yeah, so World 2 is the desert land, and this has the infamous sun in it, the first of 2
Yeah.
levels that have the sun.
Yeah.
And the third warp whistle can be found here. So when you beat one of the what are those things called? Hammer Brothers. One of them will give you a hammer, and if you go to the upper right of the map, like as far as you can go into the upper right, there's a rock, and if you use the hammer, you'll find another Hammer Brother and a Mushroom House, and the warp whistle I think is with the Hammer Brother.
Ah.
Oh shit. That's what those hammers are for, right? It's not a
Yeah.
power up where you can. It's not like a hammer throw suit. It's like the rock that lets you. Oh,
There
yeah.
there is a
I never
Hammer
realized
Brothers
that.
suit in this game you get in World 7.
Right, but the hammers
I
that you
found
get
that. Yeah.
earlier on in the
Yeah.
game are to break rocks on the map.
Yeah, and there's a few
Yeah.
places you can use them. You get one in Waterland as well. If you break it in, I think it's the lower right, it leads to a boat, which leads to an island, which leads to a couple of houses and spade card things, or the spade gambling thing.
Oh yeah.
And if you go even further, you can actually see the final castle, but I can't remember off the top of my head if you can get on that island or if you just float back.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, man, I wish I would have remembered that. Or I think I probably knew it at one point, but I would have messed around with that if I would have remembered. But I'm a
Yeah.
notorious item hoarder, even in this game. I'm like, nope,
Oh
I'm only
yeah.
going to
for
use it
real.
if I absolutely need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the end spade cards that show up after you get so many points. A card will come up in a random spot in the map there and be floating back and forth, and you go into it. It's a memory game.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that
that
why they
matching
come
game.
up? I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was points. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Wait, why does it come up? I missed that.
Just you get a certain amount of points after a while. Like I
Oh,
think it's 80,000 points. One of them will pop up. There
okay.
is only 8 patterns for those. So if you start copying them down and figuring them out, you will actually be able to get all the items because you'll have it written down. That's what we did as a kid.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
That is
when I was
crazy.
when I was doing this playthrough, I would get them like every so many, thousands of points, and I would just looked up online those 8 patterns because I wasn't going to go through it all again, and I'd just clear all the items out. That's another reason I had 37 lives.
I like
That's
that
awesome because then you get like, what is it? You probably get like 2 1-ups, 2 stars, 2
No,
flowers, and 2 mushrooms out of that, or just
you get
one
2
of each.
flowers, 2 stars, 2 mushrooms, one up, 30 coins total, and
Yeah,
that's it.
that's quite a haul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so full of items, I had to start using multiple stars just to kind of clear up space because when you fill up your 28 slots on the original, I think it's 36 on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
When you fill
there's
up all
more.
your slots, the last one will constantly swap out with whatever you got that's new. So if you get something like the Hammer Brothers suit and it's in that last spot, and then you get a mushroom, well, you
yeah.
lose the Hammer Brothers suit.
Oh,
That
sucks.
sucks.
Yeah, so I'd always make sure I would use the stars up because I never use a star to begin a level, except for when I'm doing it to clear up space.
No, I generally only use the stars to like just cheese the Hammer Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
if you're in that mood, right?
Hey,
If you're in that mood, yeah.
I was always in that mood.
Oh,
But no way was I taking those guys on.
the Hammer Brothers were okay on the regular levels, but in the ice world they suck because you're slipping around.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's hard to
true.
time your jumps. And then in the one of the water worlds, if they appear over water, then there's just enough standing water to slow Mario down,
Yeah.
and they're just kind of in there, so you
Yeah.
can't like sprint up to it and run under the hammers. It's very hard to time.
Yeah.
All right, going over the worlds again. I'm just going to list them off real quick here, all starting from the beginning because we keep distracting ourselves, and this will avoid us having to slowly burn through them. So World 1 was Grassland, World 2 was Desert Land, World 3 is Waterland, World 4 is Giant Land, World 5 is Skyland, World 6 is Iceland, World 7 is Pipeland, my favorite, and
that.
World 8 is Darkland. What's your favorite and your least favorite?
Oh, geez. I mean, favorite is probably Grassland because it's easy, and I can beat it fairly easily. I think. I mean, my playthrough has just died on World 7, and so that sucks. I didn't like World 5 for some reason. I just couldn't get the hang of that. I was stuck on there for ages.
Oh man,
really?
see, World
Yeah.
5 is my favorite.
Like once
I
you
like
actually
World
get into
5.
the sky,
Yeah.
that was no bueno. I just couldn't get any further for like days.
I think Giant Land is probably my favorite. That's World 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was pretty
like
cool.
Sky. Yeah, I like Skyland too. I like that you beat that one tower, and it's actually like Mario climbing into the clouds. So once you get to the top of it and then exit the level, then you're in the clouds. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was I like that tower because there is no real like end to it. You just go up to a pipe, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're at the next part.
Right.
But if you die on that ship, like the final boss, who is he? Roy Koopa. If you die on that ship, the ship will move around. It'll actually can go down to the surface world and then
That's
back up to the
bullshit.
clouds.
That
And
is
like,
some
yeah.
bullshit.
So that's
Yeah.
the only ship I always anchor, because when you find an anchor there, it'll lock the ship into that spot. So if you die, the ship won't be able to move.
What's the anchor? What
Excuse
the fuck?
me. What
are
can we just stop there for a minute?
Jesus
my
Christ?
What the fuck is an
What
anchor?
the? Yeah,
The anchor. It's
He's just making stuff up now because he knows we
I
don't know
think
any
so.
better.
You get the anchor. God, where do you get it? Like, obviously hidden spots. I don't actually have it written down where you get it, but the anchor is used to stop the Koopalings ships from moving around if you die.
I'm calling
And most
bullshit. I'm
you,
looking this
yeah,
up.
usually it's not a
sounds-
problem because you can just follow the map back. But in World 5, it can go down to the surface and then back up. So
then what have you got to do? Go down the tower?
yeah, you go down the tower, which it's not really like a huge hardship. You just go down a little bit and then find another pipe that takes you down to that level. But it's just the repetition of it.
That is a ball ache.
Yeah.
I can't believe that
for
there's
sure.
an anchor in this game.
Oh god, there's a P-wing, a music box, a hammer that breaks stuff, Jugum's cloud or Lakitu's cloud, I guess in North America, that allows Mario to skip a level.
Yeah, see, I was using that cloud and then just nothing happened. I was just like,
Yeah,
okay.
There's to lock an airship in place. Good lord.
Yeah, you use that cloud and then you go over the level that you want to skip. But I think world, what world was it? I think it was Giant Land. And I went over the level I couldn't beat, and then I died in the next level, and it shot me back 2 levels. So I ended up having to beat that level I couldn't beat anyways.
That is one of my gripes as well. Every time you die in a level, it just kicks you back across half the map, and it's just like, why? I'm just going to go back there and try again. It's just like that frustration. I've been feeling a sense of failure my entire life. I'm used to that. I mean, no, just, and sometimes you can go back quite a ways. And I was just like, oh, come on.
Well, like I said, it shoots
again.
you back to the last level that you finished. So, depending where you were. What else? We got 9 items itself in the game. The Super Leaf, which is new, it turns you into Raccoon Mario. Run back and forth allows you to fly. You get a tail whip. Tanuki suit is Furry Mario, so it's like a Super Leaf on crack.
Yeah, I love that.
The frog suit. Yeah, the frog suit enhances your swimming. The hammer suit turns you into a hammer brother, and when you duck, you're invincible or almost invincible.
That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one level you get this shoe where you knock the Goomba out of it, and then the shoe lets you jump on flowers and the little
I love that.
Yeah, spikes and stuff like that. Best item in the game, most underutilized item.
Yeah, it's only in World 5-3, and if you knock a Goomba out of this shoe, then you can use the shoe for the rest of the level. I love it. It's awesome. That's my favorite level. Yeah. Yeah. And then the shoe is just kind of like sitting there hopping, waiting for you. You can jump in it.
Get in.
Vaguely remember that from back in the day, but I don't think I did World 5-3. I don't remember it this time round. But
I like that a lot of these things show up as not necessarily like Easter eggs, but they kind of like incorporate them into like Super Mario 3D World for sure. That shoe is in there, and there's like an ice skate that you ride in. Yeah. I don't know if it's the shoe itself, but there's definitely like an ice skate that you sit in and ride around in.
Same path or whatever.
You have to knock a Goomba out of it, and then you can get in this ice skate and skate around. I mean, do like little triple lutzes and stuff.
This game is absolutely brilliant for power-ups. Like they really upped the game with this one. I mean, everyone's favorite power-up. What do you reckon?
I'm gonna. like it a little more than the Tanuki suit.
Really?
I like this. Yeah, I like the Super Leaf or Tanuki suit. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, they're basically the same thing. One's just got like one just looks cuter because it's like a little bear suit.
I mean, they're iconic. I mean, when you think about Mario 3, that's the image, isn't it? I love that. Both the suit and the leaf. Yeah.
Like that. But nope, hammer suit's more rare, and it is a little bit more fun to play around with.
Yeah, I had a go with that. That was a lot of fun.
And then you lose it, and you're like, oh, you'll
Yeah.
never get one again.
Yeah.
Most useful item, the P-Wing. Some levels you just can't beat, so you just put...
Yeah.
Or use that cloud.
That's true.
It says right. Yeah, that's the key difference.
Yeah. I didn't play the Game Boy Advance version, but did you fellas run into something called the Magic Wing, which is similar to the P-Wing, but also appears in the Mario Advance 4 game?
I don't remember.
I mean, I played on the Switch. I don't know. Is it in that?
I have
It's on
no
the
idea.
yeah, it's on the GBA. It's on the GBA online. I
Oh.
played around with it a bit, but I don't remember if I actually got that.
No, I was just playing the NES version.
Yeah, the NES version to me is the way to go.
I prefer it. It's got that. I get that nostalgic feeling from the NES version that I didn't get on the Game Boy Advance one, and the Game Boy Advance also adds like a lot of sound effects for Mario that I don't care for. Where he's just like woohoo, or like it just adds all of his little vocalizations. I'm like, I don't need so much of this.
Yeah, I did I played one level of the game, and yeah, that drove me nuts. Woohoo! Oh yeah! Oh no! Shut up!
God,
yeah, whenever he dies, like, oh no! It's like, yeah, fuck off! I'm dying all the time. I don't need to hear you complain.
Oh, that would drive me over the edge.
No, it definitely was something that took me away from the game. And as soon as I started playing, like on my NES Classic, as soon as I started playing the original with the original controller, that was the other problem we were talking about, is
oh yeah,
having the tilted buttons on a Super Nintendo or a Super Nintendo-esque like controller like the Switch does kind of changes the feel of the game.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. I think that's probably because I was playing it both with the Joy-Cons and whatever Switch controller I've got upstairs. It's just the buttons just felt too small to both run and jump. I don't know why, because like I consider, I mean, it might be sacrilege, but for me, Super Mario Brothers 3, and it's because it's the first place I played it, just feels definitive on the All Stars collection. And the Super Nintendo has the offset buttons, and yet for some reason that just wasn't a problem.
Well, now in the Super Nintendo version, did it allow you to use the bottom button or the B button to run and the Y button to jump, or vice versa? Because I remember...
God, I can't remember.
Yeah, because there's a way I hold a controller for the Super Nintendo Mario games where... No, I guess not. I'm trying to picture it now. Super Mario World's pretty much set in, but I always remember being able to hold the B button to jump or the Y button to run. I can't remember. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass and now I'm just wasting time.
It just really feels like this game was meant for the A and the B button to be next to each other with some of the jumps and some of the things that you need to do. Those buttons really need to be right next to each other and not offset, because I had some challenge. And I don't typically like to play. I was playing it on a Switch Lite. I don't like to play my Switch handheld for 2D platformers like this, because the Joy-Cons directional pad buttons being like C buttons is terrible. I hate it. And I don't want to play with a joystick, because that's not how these games were meant to be played. I'm not a joystick user.
I am very close to convincing myself to actually get a set of the Switch NES controllers.
That seems like a good
that
move.
would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah. I would play around with those. Those would be a lot of fun for all these Nintendo Switch Online games that are on there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
having the D-pad was helpful, but there's one particular part of the game where you have to fly with while holding a shell that sucks. And I don't
yeah.
even know how you would do it with a regular controller either, aside from, like holding it in a weird way and like tapping with a different finger. It's just such a weird choice for the way that the game is designed.
Definitely. I was stuck on that level for so long until I remember, because you brought that up in our chat.
Yeah.
And I could not figure this level out, and then I just kept looping around and around, and it's like the game was telling me, look, you need to use this leaf.
Right.
I was just like, and get where exactly? And then when I flew up there, I was just like, oh, okay, this is what Sam was talking about. And
Yeah,
my
there's
God,
like two little flowers and then bricks built in such a way that you wouldn't be able to knock your way through it with just your tail because the flowers would kill you.
yeah,
So yeah, that's just such a shitty part. I did not like that. That was that's a bullshit moment right there. It's just kind of like
definitely,
yeah, I get it. It's like a challenge to be, I guess, like there's no good way to press the buttons, and that
no,
that doesn't feel very good.
it's
I,
incredibly
I don't like
fiddly.
it.
Like,
Yeah,
I feel like you would almost have to, like, instead of holding the controller, is just use your fingers on. It's hard to explain over
I did.
radio.
I used
You
my
did,
my forefinger and my middle finger. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I mean, I didn't, because I'm only just thinking about it now. Um, but yeah, that might have made things a bit easier.
I mean, there's no way to rotate your thumb back and forth fast
No.
enough to fly and get enough, because you have to flap the little tail enough to get lift.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would start out fine and then I would lose ground eventually because that's not
No.
how comfortable it is to hold or whatever. You're
Yeah.
just like, don't mess with that.
I'm not as limber as I used to be.
No.
right in the thumb. That's where all the tension is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially now.
Yeah, you know what move in the game I actually had a lot of problems with for God knows what reason? It was the run and slide under a block. I'd always release
Yeah.
too early
Yep.
and then just like run face first into the block.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are some particularly challenging fortress levels where they try to like do like a gotcha moment with the POW blocks that I can't remember if that's what those are called.
both thwomps. Yeah,
Like it will catch you unless you're able to like slide under the blocks. It's just like,
yeah.
oh God. Those were actually fun levels though. Like the
Yeah.
challenge in that was a fun challenge.
I actually did enjoy
That's
that one quite a bit.
that's what I like about this game is the levels do offer like some good and varied challenges, and some of them are just cakewalks. Uh, it gives you a good kind of blend. Like World One is obviously designed to kind of introduce you to every mechanic of the game, but Worlds 2 through 8, some of the levels are just absolute jackasses to players, and other levels, like you jump on something, you go up a pipe, and all of a sudden, like, hey, you just found the secret way to the end. 15 seconds, level over.
Well, there you
It's
go.
kind of interesting. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's just like there is definitely a difficulty curve in this game. And what I like is that it does, for some of the harder levels, the path will branch. So, if you're having trouble with, say, I don't know, level 7, well, you can just go the other way and try a level 8 instead. So you don't necessarily have to do every single level to get where you need to go, which
Yeah.
gives you a nice, if you're really stuck on a level, at least you can try to do something else, and you'll eventually beat one of those levels.
Yeah, exactly. And it was definitely a nice thing to have kind of branching paths in this game,
Hmm.
which again is a first for a Mario game, considering this is the first one that really uses an overworld map.
Yeah.
But that's what it also brought to the series, because now the overworld map on the 2D Mario games is pretty much staple for all of them.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was
The
gonna
other. Oh, go
just
ahead, bud.
really quick going back to kind of like the novelty or difficulty of some of these levels is I was mentioning it before. There's like a whole community of Kaizo Mario players that play those like Super Mario World ROMs or like ROM hacks where there's like all kinds of just custom crazy ass levels. If you've ever watched playthroughs of those, they're nuts. But I think some of this, the concepts of jumping off and launching off of speed running or high skill play type of play style.
Definitely. There's a good amount of variation in like power ups and play styles that you can, to an extent, just sort of try different things to get through the level. There's a good amount of just a good amount of variety.
Yeah, it's no. Go ahead, Sam.
A couple of notable examples that we really didn't care for. A lot of these levels are very short but very well crafted to be able to, if you know what you're doing, you can hop through them like enemy to enemy or, run and jump in the specific spots and, that kind of thing. And it's fascinating to watch like
Yeah.
Not really, really good. I mean, my best move is the back and forth to the two boos coming at me. So that way they stay still, right?
that
And
is
you
crucial.
yeah. No, I'm not good at the game. I just kind of didn't care if I died on this playthrough, so I just ran through the levels. Like I was playing World 7 before we recorded today, and I knew I didn't have a lot of time, so I was just trying to get through the levels as quick as possible. And I got to one of the flowers because on the level there's just a piranha plant that's on its own. It's not really a world. And I tried to just jump my way through that, and I just kept dying. And I finally just said, "Fuck it, I'm angry enough to record now."
I was definitely angry enough to record.
Oh yeah, you were playing right at the beginning there, and I'm surprised you quit. You should have finished the game by now.
I'm still playing it now.
Oh, are you?
Are you really?
I am really. Yeah, I've just picked it up again. I'm still on World 7, and I am
Like you're addicted, aren't you? Like you want to beat this. This is the Allen curse of your entire family video game histories. You must beat the game now.
I have to beat a game. Yes, it's my ancestors will be ashamed of me or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, and that's again sort of testament to it because it's just like I am frustrated with playing this game, but it is so addictive.
It is,
And that's one of the hallmarks of a good platform. It's just like, yeah, all right, it has absolutely no respect for me as a gamer.
No.
But I just keep coming back.
Long and there's a lot of short levels, and that's fine. I think saves like a save system would have benefited the game a lot. I think we mentioned that before. But the other thing is there are a few levels, especially I'm looking at Pipe World, and then there is one of the fortresses I think has like these doors that you have to go into, and you have to like pick the.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you've only got a certain amount of time. Level. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like why are there 10? Why are there 10 doors? We don't need 10.
It's like you've made your point.
Yeah,
yeah. Last level I played was the castle in World 7 there.
Yep.
Where you have to you start out basically it's all bricks, and then you find a P block, and the P block turns the bricks obviously into coins where you can get a lot of like a couple of 1-ups. But when you hit the P block, there's a door that automatically or like it appears right to your left, and if you're not paying attention, you can just fall right down. I thought that was the way to go, and I couldn't get back. But when you find the other door, it takes you to this room that has 2 doors in it and then a pipe on the ceiling. And I had the Leaf at the time, and I spent a long time in that room trying to figure out where to go because the one door takes you back and the other door takes you to another room that has nothing.
Yeah,
but a fire flower.
I remember that distinctly.
Yeah,
that fire flower is there to take away your leaf so that you can't finish the level.
Yeah, that's fuckery. I don't like that.
That's kind of cheap.
Yeah. So what you got to do is you got to get the leaf and fly to the top and get that pipe, and that pipe takes you off to the boss, or the Boom Boom.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, that's his name, Boom Boom.
Oh, I love it.
And then without really giving any indication, then they mix in variety where like sometimes it'll just go back and forth, and sometimes it'll just sprout wings and start flying around, and then sometimes it'll hop in a weird. It's like, what the fuck?
Not one enemy, including the Koopalings or the Koopa Kids, in this game cannot be beat by or cannot. Words hard. Anyways, you can beat them all simply by waiting for them to pop back up to be hittable again, and then jumping on them
That's
right
pretty
away.
much
That's
how
what
I
I
got
try
through
to
them.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets difficult with some of the and I don't know all the Koopalings' names, but when they start throwing projectiles or rings around the room, it does get difficult to maintain that style of attack. I found.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wendy
I'll take a
fucking
hit and
sucks.
lose my item.
If I've even got the item by that point.
Yeah.
Wendy.
Oh yeah, he stuns you.
The Koopa Kids are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all like, I appreciate that it's not just one sprite recolored. They all actually have like different shapes and stuff. So
Yeah.
kind of like with Nintendo, obviously reusing sprites is the way to save space, and having different Koopa Kids or Koopalings is a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some that are very.
Yeah. And he's the badass.
I like
He
Lemmy.
sucks. Fucking.
Like
Yeah,
not
like-
not so
like,
much to like fight, but I just think he's a cool looking character.
He's
And-
cool looking. Yeah.
I mean that is
Yeah, I like Ludwig von Koopa from World 7.
oh
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might
he's
be
a
the one
funny
I'm thinking
one,
of
yeah.
actually. Is he the one that looks like the composer? Oh,
Yes, he's the one who looks.
That's who I'm talking about. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Have you ever watched the Super Mario Brothers 3 cartoon?
I don't think so.
My God, people, you need to get more culture in your life. I actually have the DVDs.
Oh,
Like the
wow.
whole series was like fit on 3 DVDs,
That's
so it wasn't
fancy.
a long running series.
Was
but
that one good? I thought
it's-
that one wasn't as good as the initial one with
No,
Lou Albano and
none of the Mario shows by any technicality can be considered good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're good in that nostalgic. I was a child sitting in front of the old Radiation King with a bowl of cereal, watching these shows and watching that Mario song or the Super Mario World intro as well is one that sticks in the back of my brain and has a permanent place there.
Didn't they make 3 series? They made the one that's kind of more based on like the Super Mario 2 aesthetic. That was the first one, and then there's the Super Mario
Yeah.
Brothers 3.
Yeah, there's the 3 of those.
Oh, see, I think I only remember the one with was it Lou? Yeah.
The wrestler and then the other guy.
Yeah. The guy who played Luigi.
Yeah.
I think I wonder, honestly, if that's how they kind of developed the shapes of Mario and Luigi, because those two kind of really fit the aesthetic of what Mario and Luigi turned into.
That's true.
So I wonder what came first, the show or the Mario Brothers 2?
Yeah, I wonder. Because the sprites in Super Mario 2 definitely look different, and then in this game they're back to just a palette swap.
Well, Super Mario Brothers 2 came first, so they're modeled after Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah, and that's the way to go. You need like a little chunky boy Mario, and then you need like a tall Luigi.
Yeah, it's a good aesthetic.
Yeah. It was nice to differentiate them because, just playing as green Mario was never as fun.
No.
All right. Yeah, we've done boss fights, we've done worlds, I've surprised you with a few items.
Definitely.
What else? Anything else to talk about here?
I'm just looking through this item list. What is this Bowser statue? Bowser statue?
It's just a statue that's in Bowser's castle that spits fire.
Oh, I never got that far.
for this game, and the Bowser sprite looks really, really cool.
Oh, it's really detailed, really well done.
Yeah.
But I think if it's the same wiki page I'm on, I think it's All Stars that you're looking at, not the original.
No, it's the original.
Yeah,
looks good.
Is it?
I've got that. That does look sweet. It's very cool. I mean, the whole game looks amazing. I mean, I will say, I mean, it's probably my Sega bias coming through, but I mean, the color palette does feel a little bit muted when you when you look at what the Master System was doing at the time. And I'm aware I probably just got myself cancelled. But you know,
Well, it doesn't have blast processing.
no, I know. You know, they
that
did their
was the
best.
Genesis, though.
Oh
Doesn't
no,
matter.
The
blast processing was retroactive. It's just like once you've got it, you've always had it.
Oh, of course, absolutely, yes.
That's just how it works.
Lo-
I mean, the sprites all look gorgeous in this game. Like everything's nice, and it really pushes what the NES was capable of visually.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the NES life cycle here, so
Yeah.
it's yeah, this is the point where they've all figured it out how to shove as much data into those cartridges as they can.
Yeah.
So this game absolutely has to look this gorgeous. Otherwise, you know, what's the point of making a new system?
Yeah.
Tons of different enemy types in this game. This game was just deep.
Oh yeah.
So I've got some honorable or some notable ones here. The Boomerang brother, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, looks like he's throwing a sock to me. So
It's
he
an
throws
awfully
socks.
stiff sock. Ooh.
it's yeah, it's teenage Sam sock.
Trying to get hit in the face with that.
Fuck both of those. There's Big Bertha, which is the one that swallows the little fish, but the one that swallows you in those kind of platforming levels where they're rising and falling into the water is Boss Bass, and he can fuck right off.
Oh, is that okay? I didn't realize they were.
That's the one that jumps and swallows you.
In which case,
We're the same, same sprite, different.
In which case, I apologize to Big Bertha. I'm glad you brought that up because that thing can go eat a dick.
Oh yeah, when those levels sink into the water, I assume the water's rising, but you know, just the way it looks. And yeah, that thing comes up there. It's like you're preparing for it. Like I always go in with a fire flower or a P-wing. Fire flower first until I die enough times. P-wing to fly over it.
Yeah, I usually skip that or try to skip that level because I really hate it.
Yeah.
And then blooper with kid. Tiny ones out in different directions, and they all start doing that. It's like, get fucked.
Like, come
it's like the Paragoombas with the micro Goombas that come down. If one of them hits you, it stops you from jumping and you know, becomes susceptible to enemies like a Goomba bumping your ankle and killing you.
One thing I'll say about those though is at least like you don't get hurt by the tiny Goombas. They just slow you down.
Yeah.
You just have to like hit A bunch to eventually jump.
This game is incredibly unforgiving about what does and doesn't hit you as well. Like,
but I find it's very precise too when you jump. Like, there's no large hitbox there where you can actually see a gap between the Mario character and the enemy.
Yeah.
So you have to be touched to actually be damaged.
Absolutely. I mean, it's unforgiving, but it's not unfair. It's just like, if you've been hit by something, then you genuinely got touched, maybe by just like a fraction of a pixel, but you got touched. So
right,
yeah,
that's what really lends this game to like that high skill or precision play. That you know, like you don't see people speed running games with like really terrible hitboxes. This is a really tight game.
Yeah.
One of the most frustrating but funny things in this game that happens to me quite often is when you jump from one pipe to another and you're midair and all of a sudden the piranha plant comes out and you're just like, well, fuck.
Yeah, you just all you can do is watch it fucking happen.
Yeah.
Although it's really funny, it always cracks me up that in video games you can like change direction midair. In a lot of games, it's like that's not possible.
No.
Oh, totally possible. I do it all the time.
Yeah, do you jump high enough to change direction seveul times before you come back down?
Right before I go on my ninja adventures.
How the fuck did you get stuck in Castlevania then?
Oh, we're going back to that. We don't talk about Castlevania.
Oh, we will again.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to give their final thoughts before we score it? Alan, I think this is a very Alan-centric episode. So, Alan, you take it away. You
Yeah,
give the
go
big
for it.
summary, and me and Sam will sit there and nod our heads until our neck hurts.
Absolutely. I mean, I may have been unkind to this game, and this game may have been unkind to me in return. I didn't have the nostalgia going into it, so that does hurt it somewhat. But I can't deny that it's an incredibly well-crafted platformer that they really stuffed as much as physically possible into the game. It's a beautiful send-off for the NES console as a whole, and it may not be my particular cup of tea, but I really respect what it did, and it would be improved upon. I mean, I feel like this game is almost a prototype for Super Mario World. There are a lot of, and I didn't really notice this back in the day, but playing it this time around, there's a lot in here that informs what Super Mario World would become. A lot of themes, a lot of enemies, a lot of challenges that I was just like, oh, yeah, this feels very familiar. It's a great game. It's maybe not one that I get on with, but it definitely deserves its place as one of the most popular games on the NES.
All right,
For sure.
Sam, do you want to follow up with anything, or just sit there and agree with them?
No, it's
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't have the same level of nostalgia for this that I do like a Sonic game because I had a Sega, but I definitely played plenty of it. Was never really that good at it, but yeah, this is just the what Super Mario 3 did is like has become kind of the foundation of every Mario game after. There's bits and pieces of like, and especially the 2D and like 2.5D like Mario 3D World, where like a lot of the elements are pulled from this game. This is really the foundation of like the first quote unquote like modern Mario game, where you have a lot of the power-ups that we come to know and love, a lot of the game mechanics and enemies that we've come to see later on. I think this game deserves again like a tremendous amount of respect for that. And yeah, just again, go look up a speed run of this game because it's insane. This is a great game.
Yeah.
I just think like a couple things that I really dislike, but it's a challenging game, but there's a lot of variety, and there's ways around it. If like you want a quick playthrough, go get all the little whistles. If you want to spend time and play every level and try to beat some of the shitty ones, then go for it. But yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah, and for me, it's a very nostalgic game. Like I see the yellow box, and it's instantly recognizable to me. It really stands out on the retro store shelves. Um, I got this game when it first came out. Like I said, we saw the Wizard. We Peter Pants a little bit, and we begged mom and dad for Christmas to get this game, and of course they got it for us. And after a little bit of fighting, which I probably lost a few rounds, me and my brother started playing this game. I had to be Luigi again. Of course, my brother's pretty good at video games, so he'd clear like 15 levels, and then I'd start back and die on the first level. He'd clear 15 more. You know how it goes. But another mechanic in this game, and you brought it up, Sam, is some of the influence it's had on future games. It's also had influence on games outside of the Mario series, where things like pushing the button to jump longer or letting it go to jump shorter.
Yeah, for sure.
That's become a common mechanic in platforming games. Other than that, level design and how you progress, not really on a 3D plane, but kind of an X and a Y axis. So you have levels that actually go higher than the screen. That's another thing. So you could hide stuff up top, depending on the type of game you're making. So yeah, it kind of influenced a lot in the video game industry. And of course, Mario being one of the most recognizable characters on the planet, no, it makes this game absolutely wonderful to me. I don't have anything negative to say about it. The levels are hard, but like Alan said, they're fair.
Well,
and
some of them.
they're all fair. They're all fair. You just need to get good,
I don't
son.
know if they're unfair or if I just suck. It's probably the latter. I'll take that one.
All right. So, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this. In the order that I guess we waxed poetic, let's give it a score out of 10.
Oh, hang on.
Alan.
I have two quick things to say about what you said, Brian.
We're done.
Well,
I already said we're scoring it.
Well, I would just want to
I feel
say,
like I've
what a
got a
fucking
stay of
mess.
execution now.
What a mess, because you've both peed and pooped your pants over this game. And I have to know if that happened at the same time.
Yes, I'm like a puppy. I was young at the time, right? There I was wagging my tail. Next thing you know, it turned out I didn't have a tail. It was a little poop out there wagging.
Yeah, it's okay now because he can open the windows, so he's all good.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
and if you want to hear more about my bowel movements, join our Patreon for free.
Just one whole episode of us talking about our poops.
I mean, that was a poop and was that a butt plug?
Jesus Christ! The furry one.
It's not so much a. If I have gas, it's not so much a butt plug as a projectile.
It's the tanuki. It's the tanuki tail, but
Gross.
With a butt plug at the end of it. Great. This is gone off
completely off the
rails. So what's point number 2, Sam?
Oh, point number 2 was at least this game didn't have save states, so you could delete your brother's file.
Good times.
Gotcha, bitch.
Well,
all right. So
yeah, give it a score.
I'm gonna hold on. Before we finish up here, I'm just gonna say that if you go to Etsy.com and look up Tanuki Tail butt plug, there is plenty of options.
I mean, I was referring more to the fact that you were plugging the Patreon with poop, but you do you.
Oh, okay.
You do you.
No, I was just kind of worried. Somebody said Tanuki Tail butt plug, so I was like, this has to exist.
Oh,
so
shut
while Sam
up.
was talking,
it totally does.
Yeah.
Which one of you reprobates is already on the payment page?
Yeah. Oh man.
You definitely need the one that has this
kind
of like little bell at the end of it to keep your juices off the tail.
All right, let's score this before we have to turn this into a Patreon only episode because of the.
This is becoming Retrotopia after dark.
Well, it is dark here, so.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, fair point.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
So Alan, you're going to give the score first out of 10. Out of how many butt plugs out of 10?
I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat for this, but like I say, it's not my favorite game on the NES, and it's not a Sonic game, so it's going to take a bit of a hit. I think I'm going to give it a 7.5 Tanuki butt plugs. I don't know what happened to the other half of it.
Oh, gross! Just the tail part came off. It got stuck.
Sam, what are you going to give this out of 10?
Oh man, I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
8.5.
It's a real solid game, but I think what holds it back is just the lack of saves, the length, and just some of the weird bullshit. I think was refined in later games. So 8.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna go straight 9. Nuts to both of you. I'm going to fit all 9 in there, and I'm going to be a 9 tails.
Oh, Brian.
This game is, like I said, it's very nostalgic, and it's just a straight up 9. I played it again. I fell in love with it again. Like Alan said, it's not Sonic, so that's a positive.
So yeah, you guys meet in the middle because Alan took a point away for it not being a Sonic game, and you gave it an extra point for not being a Sonic game.
Yeah, there you go. Attack my beautiful Nintendo. All right, that's everything, I guess. Any final thoughts for the audience there? Any final recommendations on Etsy?
I would not recommend Googling what I just Googled.
Yeah, this is why we shouldn't do this on computers. We should just meet up with each other and get a little tape recorder.
Right. Yeah. No
Yeah.
one to get distracted by
Yeah, I'll start walking.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Alan, thanks for joining us again. You are definitely a part of the Retrotopia team, and we always try to have you on more and more and
I
more.
love it.
Sam, I'm gonna do it to you again. Why don't you play us out?
Yeah. Well, next week we're going to be talking about the Wizard. So I actually know what the hell we're doing next week. Yeah. So join us next time when we talk about the Wizard and probably a little bit more Super Mario Brothers 3 memories. So until then, have a great week and we'll see you next time.